Hey everyone, in the previous video we spoke about creating entities with Dialogflow. So we saw creating entities that are inbuilt with Dialogflow, right? But like country or time or something like that. But what if you want to create your own entities from and that can be extracted from the statement? So in order to do that, we have something called the entities, right? Assume that you want to add some more richness to the statement. Like for example, if a user is asking how many recovered cases from China, or how many recovered cases in China, for how many recovered today in China. So the recovered cases in an attribute that you would like to extract from the statement. So this could be recovered, or active cases, or death cases, or something like that. So it could have the cases can be of multiple status or multiple types, right? So in order to classify this, you create custom entities, because these entities are not by default, and these are domain specific. For example, in case of corona statistics, we have these types of cases. And if it is a different chatbot or something of that sort, like say if you have creating a HR bot for applying leave, so that there it could be like I would like to apply for a medical leave, or I would like to apply for a vacation, or I would like to apply for a sick leave, something like that. So these types of leave could be a custom activity, custom intent, sorry, entity. And this intents these entities are created in Dialogflow. And in order to do that, you can just go to the Dialogflow entities, create a new entity. Under the custom, create a new entity. For example, in our case, I'm going to create an entity called cases types, or cases status, right? So I'm going to save it. Yeah, you need to create one value. So these are type. So for example, each one will be one status. So for example, this will be recovered. So it can have multiple synonyms, right? For example, recovered, or cured, or like example many of the synonyms. For example, for dead, passed away, etc., etc. And another type would be active, which could also say sick, etc. For this domain, this could be active cases, or unrecovered, covered cases. So all these synonyms. Also synonyms will be defined here, and the types or the entity that you would like to capture will be defined here. So whenever the Dialogflow returns a value, it will return this value, and when it will match across these values. So for example, if you say how many cured cases in Italy, it will give recovered as your parameter, or the value, whichever comes here, right? So let me go and save it. So you can have n number of cases, right? So case types, case status is the entity type, and the values under it are recovered, death, and I'll change it as to dead. Okay, and active. So these are the three types of cases, three types of statuses. So now let's go back to our intent, COVID-19, and classify a new case, new user phrase into our custom entity. How many deaths in China? So if you notice, China is automatically classified because we already done it. So here we're going to create it as search for your custom status, case statuses, that will be classified. Similarly, if I ask for how many deaths in China, if you see, it is categorized the case status as dead. So the NLU identifies this one and correspondingly matches with the entity name that you provided, and then gives you the result. So for example, since it is we are going to use it as a data, let's rename it to small cases, so that it's uniform when you write your logic. Active. So now you can also ask for how many recovered in China. So it shows recovered as your case status, right? How many sick in China. So it will return the active cases. So based on this value, you will be able to query your database or query your API and then retrieve the corresponding value. So here we created our custom entity. This could be any entity. You can also have multiple custom entities in a single statement. So custom entities are nothing but entities that are specific to your domain and that are not pre-trained in your system. So it could be, for example, if you're creating an employee system or something like that, employee ID could be a custom entity and you can match it with a regex value. So all these are possible with Dialogflow, and it's no programming or anything. You just need to configure it and train it. It will work. Hope you found this video interesting. Thank you so much.